with Deputy Director of Public Works, Aaron Johnson. And Mr. Johnson, talk to us about specifically the need for crime watch groups, neighborhood associations to work with you regarding illegal dumping.
The crime watch group is very important for the simple fact that be the eyes and ears, and for us to actually try to put a stop to this, we need you to get out there and get some license plates. You don't have to confront anyone, because we don't want anybody to get hurt or anything like that, but the license plates, that's all we need, so we can run the plates and so we can find out who are actually the people that are actually doing this. But again, it's your community. One, that's why you should get involved. And we're trying to clean up the neighborhoods, because right now they're winning the war because of the simple fact that we can clean up your area, and then on a Monday, then by that Thursday, the same guys who've been illegal dumping are right back at it. So again, we really need to be proactive with this thing, and that's the only way we're going to be able to get it under control.
How much lead time would you like when a crime watch group or neighborhood association makes a reporting about illegal dumping? How much time would you like in advance, as far as being able to get to the on scene?
It all depends what day of the week is. We have like call-offs or something like that, so it depends on my workload. But say on a good day, when you give me a call, we can get right out there, as far as cleaning it up or what have you. But again, the main issue is getting that information. That's the license plates. And once we do that, then we have something to work with. We got a starting point.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Hegarich. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Harrisburg. Just here to talk about how we augment the city with the illegal dumping and cleaning up the areas and the blight properties. Blight, excuse me? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? Okay. Primarily, we have crime watch groups here, and we have community groups here. I'd like to talk a little bit about illegal dumping. As you might imagine, my employees come to work early in the morning, they leave mid-afternoon, so the rest of the day they're at home. So the people that can see the people dumping the trash and the garbage are you that live in the neighborhoods. And what we're asking is that basically the same thing that Captain Oates addressed, is that you get information and provide it to the city so that we can follow up on the people that are doing these illegal dumpings. The process is very simple. Again, it's no different than any other crime, because it is a crime. Dumping illegally is a crime. And what we ask you to do is notify us. You can either use that number that was given there, or you can call Public Works at 236-4802. We have an answering machine on 24 hours a day. Most of the time you will get an answering machine. And what we will do is we'll notify our enforcement officer, and they will come out and start an investigation. Once they have all the information to conduct the investigation, they will notify myself, and we will dispatch a vehicle to clean up the mess. That's basically the process. And if anybody has any questions, you can call Public Works, or if you have concerns, call Public Works. Another thing I would assume, many of the community groups here like to do community cleanups. The process is very simple. You contact the Public Works office. We'll meet you on site. We'll show you where you can put all of your debris that you pick up so that we can have a good cleanup after you clean up the area. Our whole intent is to work with the public to clean up blight and illegal dumping. And that pretty much, in a nutshell, is what we do and how we augment the city.
Hey, Rich, could you talk about the new ordinance dealing with bulk pickup and that's recently?
Yeah, there's been a few changes in the legislation recently as far as how we handle garbage and trash. Before we kind of went out there were piles, huge piles, everything was thrown around. Nobody really understood clearly what was our level of service. Our level of service has been defined to where you can put out 6 bags, 1 recycle bin, and 1 bulky item per week per household. If you put those out, they will be picked up. If there's an issue with that, the ordinance also allows us, if you put out more than 6, to pick up those items and then charge the homeowner for excess. So we ask that you try to stay within the parameters of the 6 bags, 1 recycle bin, and 1 bulky item. Now, if you have moved or if you're going to move and you need to get rid of a group of bulk items, you can still call Public Works and we'll make arrangements to come pick it up for you.
All right, I'll have one more presenter and then we'll take questions for Public Works and Codes. Okay, Mr. Haggard, thank you. This time I'd like to introduce Mr. Arden Emmerich. He's one of our deputy inspectors, chief inspectors, and Mr. Emmerich, if you could talk about some of the things you'd want them to know about citations or how they go about that process and things that you would like the community to know about. Thank you.
Property maintenance code citations are not issued until we send owner notice of a violation. Typically, well, with two exceptions: snow removal, high grass and weeds, and third one, sanitation. We must give the responsible party a chance, an opportunity to rectify and correct the situation. People don't realize this is a time issue, because then we have to follow up to see if it was done or whether it was not done. And then if it was not done, then we issue citations. Then it takes approximately anywhere from 2 weeks to a month and a half until there's a hearing, if that person will, orders a hearing or steps up to the plate. If they don't work with the district justice, then a warrant's issued, and then it takes a longer time to get us to court, or even if we ever do get to court. So when you do issue, and we encourage that you do so when you have properties that need to be addressed and property maintenance issues that have to be dealt with, put in the complaint, but please be patient, because it takes time, as the officer said, for us to get it through the process, because we have to follow the process by law. And sometimes it happens quickly, and the owners are responsible and respond to our notices, but a lot of times they're not. They're absentee. They can be anywhere from this country down to the Caribbean. We have several owners that come up into goofy places that you would not believe. People that have ownership of properties in the city of Harrisburg live in the Caribbean someplace. We've had people that live in Switzerland have property here. So they're very difficult to get into court when they don't decide to do what they're supposed to do. Be patient with us. We'll try to do our best as far as that's concerned, but we can't promise you that complaint that you have is going to get squared away tomorrow. We'll work at it as best we can, but that's all that we can promise you we can do.
I'd like to know what we could do if we have half a block who leaves their trash and their trash cans in front of their front porches instead of putting them in their bags, and the trash is all over the block. Is there anything that the city could do?
The current ordinance calls for that property to be removed by 9 o'clock the day of trash. So now we're in the education phase, and shortly after that we'll be in the enforcement phase.
That can also fall up under several ordinances. One, which is the simple trash ordinance, about having trash cans and keeping your trash bag inside that trash can. The other ordinance can fall under is under the disruptive property ordinance that we just introduced and got passed this year. And we wanted to stack the decks against individuals who were not complying with the first ordinance. And it's all around enforcement, but the only way we can enforce is if we know that that particular person is perpetrating, the crime. So again, the disruptive property ordinance was introduced and for that purpose, to stack the decks against those individuals who knowingly violate the law. And so what we can do under the disruptive property ordinance is, once you submit that complaint to codes and public works, then we use codes, the codes department, to activate the disruptive property ordinance, and we cite. The landlord has 30 days, and when we go out there, if we find other violations, multiple violations, we put all those violations in that disruptive property ordinance. So if we go out for the purpose of just citing them for having their trash bags out there without trash cans, if we find other violations with that house, we can stack the decks and then tell the landlord, you got 30 days to comply. And if that landlord does not comply, then we can move forward with asking for the removal of that tenant. And but there is a step toward that. We just can't do it, right, Art? There's a process, a hearing. Art? Are you with me here? Okay.
I don't think I understood my question. I said it's a half a block.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
Saying that no matter whether it's a half a block, whether it's one house, they all can get cited. whether they're homeowners or whether they're renters. All of that, those violations fall up under multiple ordinances. And so once we can activate whatever one it is, again, the disruptive property ordinance is key because it can lead to multiple violations to put the teeth into the legislation to get us to move on that.
Just want to make you aware that that ordinance is in the packets back there. Some of you have some of those packets. That nuisance ordinance is in the packet. Also, the ordinance dealing with bulk items. So a lot of that information that we're talking about now is in the packet. Some of you have picked up those packets, so that information is available.
Our neighborhood recognizes that sometimes people throw trash on the street because they have no other place to throw it. So our neighborhood watch group is going to get our own barrels. We're going to put our neighborhood logo watch group on them and place them strategically because it's just because they just don't have a place to throw it. One of the things we at our last meeting wondered is, can we make arrangements? I mean, we'll put the plastic bags in and everything. Is there a way for us to make arrangements to have, when trash day comes around, those picked up?
I guess probably the easiest way to answer that is whenever you go to put the garbage cans out, contact my office, and I'll send one of my supervisors out so we know exactly where those cans are located and make sure that the days we go into that area, that those cans are picked up.
You know, we have our own little neighborhood group together, Crime Watch 2, and we haven't been recognized yet because I guess I'm like the leader. But anyway, I have a complaint too about, question also about the trash cans that they put out. Sometimes they put them out 2 or 3 days ahead of time, okay? And then after the trash, after they pick up the trash, then they also leave it out there 2 or 3 days. So I guess I'm asking if there anything that I'm asking for me, for my neighborhood, that I can go around and put it in their mailbox or in their mail slot, some information on what the procedures are about the trash, because everybody, it's not a lot of people's here and they're not going to get the message. But if we put some literature in their mailbox pertaining what they should do and should not do during trash day, then they might get the message. So that's basically what I need. I need something clear so that I can, you know, put it in their mailbox so that they will know, because a lot of times I'm writing people's up. I go in the neighborhood, I write people's up, I do all the footwork, and I take it to Captain Oaks, or whatever information I need to do, or I either take it to Brian, and I mean, and I want something concrete so that they will not, you know, think that I'm just nitpicking on some things.
Probably the best way to address that is, as I had stated, we had just recently rewritten some of the ordinances through our council. Right now we're in the education phase. That's why we're having this meeting and others, to let the community groups know the processes to go about so that we can correct these problems. As we get the names of the different community groups, we will get that information out to you as to how to report it. And that's what this process is all about. It's to get the laws in place, educate the public, and then lastly enforce. The preference is during the education phase that we get people to cooperate.
Yes, I'd like to report the 1200 block of Walnut Street, the 1238. That whole block is a dump site. I just left there. They have 4 trash cans and 7 trash bags on top of that. The whole block is just full of trash. 1200 block of Walnut Street. That's it. That's what I want to say.
Okay. I'd like to hear something concrete about a plan and a time schedule for getting the street lights fixed.
The mayor currently has a plan in place to start with a strategic plan for the citywide to introduce an LED program, which is currently being developed by Philips Lighting. We're going to be testing LED lights on the Mulberry Street Bridge as that's being repaired. It's a test that we need to do with PennDOT. And then right after that, we'll be looking at whether or not the city needs to issue an RFP or not to draw other vendors into the process. So before the end of this year, there will be a plan in place, and there will be a vendor in place, and a group of support vendors to make this project real. Anything you want to add to that, Mayor?
In the meantime, this is a really large project. The process started with the United States Conference of Mayors, who provides mayors all sorts of tools and kits and experts to help improve their city. We took advantage of that partnership, and the partner with the United States Conference of Mayors is Phillips Lighting. So Phillips Lighting has had several meetings with me over the last several months, along with our foreman that runs our light system, and also Public Works, and Bob Philbin in our Law Bureau, to discuss how they would go and survey the entire city. So in that process, they are beginning to collect data through our GIS system that was put in place years ago that is quite antiquated, but we're slowly but surely, as we get complaints on the lights we've already fixed, that data system will become more improved and involved as to where all of our street lights are located. With that kind of ready-demand information, Phillips will be able to go out and survey all the lights and ultimately let us know how many lights we have, costs involved, and we will begin to strategize by that process. If Phillips does not have the status with the state of being on the CoStar list, we will have to go out for an RFP. If Phillips is on the CoStar list, we would not have to go out for an RFP, which will make the process a lot quicker, where we would, once we have all the data of where all the lights are, what ones need to be replaced, our goal is to change the entire lighting system in the entire city to LED. In the meantime, if you have any lights out, sir, who made the suggestion, then please, as I talked to you about the Neighborhood Watch, Neighborhood Safety Zone, you can contact our foreman, or Kevin Baum, the Public Works Director, and report the lights that are out, and we are still in the business of repairing those lights. So if you have several lights that are out, please give us that list, and Kevin will put together a plan to get those lights repaired temporarily until we get the entire LED system, entire system surveyed, and then move forward with the whole new system. That's my goal, to make sure that we get every light in Harrisburg replaced to LED. And the program that Bob's talking about, I don't want to confuse the two. The state has put together a replacement system for the Mulberry Street Bridge. And when I met with the state about replacing those lights, because the state owns that bridge, the city just manages it. When I met with the state, rather than have them put in lights that were not going to be complementary of the LED system we're moving into, we asked the state to work with us so that we can get a test system up there. So Phillips and their partnering company has agreed to put 4 test lights up there on the Mulberry Street Bridge that will be LED, that we will use as a model throughout the entire city. But that will be a process, and again, as Bob said, you'll hear more about that plan of action. But again, in the meantime, we're not going to stop fixing lights, so report the lights that you're talking about and we will get them repaired. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Thompson.